People of the press, all those behind the screens, we are gathered here today to pay homage to one of the greatest action hero icons of all time, and to bear witness to a rebirth in senses on one of the biggest franchises the world has ever known or has come to know. In free share form, Wallace Lee's Rambo Year 1 for the masses, worldwide release, I believe will be hitting cyberspace April 20th, 2015. Today is the 18th of April. Not sure about the date for the paperback release thus far, but we will notify you as it happens. So I want to thank Wallace not only for letting us be one of the first to read this, not only for keeping us abreast through its whole translation from Italian to English, not an easy feat, not only for walking with us, these miles through and years to its first conclusion, but because Wallace has been such a support for Studio Redband and such a great friend, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this as its own review, not really a RAMBOMANIA review, but when RAMBOMANIA does come back in May 2015, we will rerun this episode in its entirety, and Wallace Lee will be here to discuss the past, present, and future of Year 1 with us. So, welcome to the worldwide premiere of Wallace Lee's Rambo Year 1, based on the characters created by David Morrell. Is a semi-historical prequel in novelized format, a seriously heavy contender, and an evolution in the spirits of writing. So, not simply just for the prequel tale penned here, but for the presentation of the works, plural, as well. Wallace Lee is not to be underestimated, and he never ceases to amaze and surprise, and I was so overjoyed when he sent me this test copy of Rambo Year 1, a lot for its construct. It hit me like a ton of bricks, like a nice original reading design with these covers. Clearly the prequel part is the meat of the novel, a novella in itself in size. But we're going to get to, that, what the prequel is wrapped up in first. And there's a lot to talk about here. The double-edged ghostwriting free share release kicks off with this great artwork by Marco Bizzotto, and legal info and personal contact info, and a very special thank you to the veterans who can contribute to the book as well. Wallace did a phenomenal amount of research for this. 181 pages based on the characters created by David Morrell. So the index here is pretty impressive, divided into 5 sections, and the sections listed are Year 1, history episodes behind the Rambo movies, history episodes behind Year 1, Troutman's opinion about the Vietnam War, and the next volume, preview. So before we delve into the novella section, let's look at the supporting pieces wrapped around the heart of this epic, and I think that's a very, very important part of this book. It's definitely something that adds to its charm. There's a great love letter to the fans, which Wallace has added in here too. And since the book is divided into a new format of study, its own beast entirely, I would say. There is also directions included, in the beginning, which is really cool, and I like that because, this is great for the reader because you get the anticipation sets in, and you're in for more than just a ride, and it delivers on having not only a wonderful in the zone novella, but it's almost like having a bonus book, rich with detail and illustration. And when you get to that part of the book too, I just want to throw in that it's really well documented and researched, and the photography for this that Wallace sought out was amazing, haunting at times, and scary. Where was I? Yeah, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. The love that went into creating this, the respect for the source material as well, is what I wanted to get to. And speaking of that, like the English from Italian translation by Wallace Lee and Mary Battazzi is humbling and makes for a really deeply personal read, which is it's really cool, because it's almost like how I would converse with Wallace in real life. So more impressively, this book is available on email, on-site stream, and presumably paperback sooner or later, I should say, with possible unabridged pieces coming. Was all done mainly by Wallace. An amazing feat to say the least, and all of this was done for the reader for free, which this would have cost thousands of dollars to do. And Wallace did it all for free, which is a testament to how much love went into this. It was a labor of love. So test readers for this draft that I have received, courtesy of Wallace Lee, are me. I have this one, this copy of the test reading, and thank you for that. From the bottom of the heart. Thank you. Also, it's been test read by Piero Costanzi and Orazio Fusco. I hope I pronounced that right. Sorry, guys, if I didn't. Without giving too much away, there's some great survival skill technique at play, and the rise of the Delta Force and fall of the SOG and the Mac 5 special forces. And Wallace pointed out and opened my eyes to fragments and fractals of even Troutman's attire that I had completely missed out on from the films and the dual movie series. It's awesome Flash stuff I totally overlooked in the past. So that was really cool, because that taught me some new stuff about where Troutman was coming from, and it just made me imagine Richard Crenna's character. It kind of solidified that for me. Crenna as Troutman's very a solid character. So there's tons of real world examples as well here. Like the First Blood cliff jump. That one's horrific to read about. The Rambo knives. I know the third incarnation from the franchise has that groove, that blood groove, that Morrell pointed out from Rambo of the Apes and Rambo of Arabia, aka the novelizations for Rambo First Blood Part 2 and Rambo 3, to reduce suction. But that's the only clue I'll give away to that, because, yeah, shows you how to move a guy around. So, it shows the guerrilla side of warfare tactics, and silent tactics. Especially the silent tactics, man. These guys were definitely ahead of their time. Way ahead of their time. It explores, like a baby bath horrifica, of Agent Orange, historical atrocity, the halo jumps, the aspect ratios of them. it wasn't as easy as just halo jumping, you know. And Morale points that out too in Rambo 2 when Rambo's halo jumping, and there's actually a deleted scene that's in the TV cut of a POV shot of Rambo coming down after the parachutes open and everything like that. But in Morale's book, it gets into Rambo's mind where Rambo's coming down, and he has to watch out that he doesn't like break his legs off on the trees and all that. You know, he has like a special role he does when he lands and everything, because it's really, a lot of people got killed really easy, or they got their limbs broken and they couldn't, you know, they were left for dead. They're in the jungle, right? So, yeah, it's pretty scary stuff considering they couldn't see anything. They were going in blind. So imagine that, blind, and you have to like work on sight, not sight, you have to work on your senses, you know, of hearing and judging distance, and wow. It's like the new Daredevil, the hallway fight scene. Anyway, an epic fight scene. I love the new Daredevil series. Anyway, I'm trailing away. So, you know, it examines like the compound bow and the explosive arrows. And case in point, this is something the Blood crew is working on for the prequel fan film, Blood: The Ghosts of War. Something I've been intrigued by myself for many moons, many of years. James Cameron's detonator, you know, remote C4 charges and arrowhead spurs, like the C4 tipped arrow pretty much, except it's on transmitter. So you have transmitter, and once the arrow is in whatever you're shooting the arrow at, you hit the transmitter and rat-a-tat, kaboom. But you know, this is something I was really intrigued by, because back in you know, in our case it's mainly for demolition purposes that later become, you know, a feral agent for Rambo in the womb of the earth under fire. Hey, that actually sounds pretty good. But it takes place in like a hive kind of thing, and actually the first time we use it is with the extraction of brewer scene. But anyway, I'm not here to talk about that. So getting back to Wallace's book here. There's stuff on the elephant grass traps in here. You know, a true story regarding a British soldier who lost a custom Rambo 2 knife inside an enemy during a rush retreat. And it reminds me of like Rambo 4, where he throws his Rambo 2 knife, his First Blood Part 2 knife, into the fire after killing the pirates when he goes to clean them up and erase his trail. But yeah, the still photography included is surreal, which is something I mentioned before as well, and both sublime. You know, it's a horror show. It goes over a lot of stealth and incognito behind the lines guerrilla warfare. I love the inclusion of the Apache sniper. You know, there's remnant tease of a Kubrick crossover here. You know, for me, this one's going back a long way. You know, with my good friend Wallace. You know, he's such a good